to the hardware store to see my old friend Bob. I said my roof it leaks, my rug's a mess, and my front door needs a new knob. I got squirrels in my attic, I got bats in my head. Well, Bob just leaned over the counter and he shook his head and said, "You need home repairs and solutions. Home repairs and solutions. They'll fix your windows, they'll fix your house, they'll even tell you how to get rid of a mouse. Home repairs and solutions."
And welcome to Home Repairs and Solutions on this Friday morning. It's brought to you by Spring Mountain Air, your authorized Amana dealer. Your hosts today are Mark Withers and Van Carter. So here's Mark and Van.
Well, thank you, Gary. You know, normally it's Mark and Mary, and Mary's a little under the weather, so I asked my good friend Van Carter here to come in and sit in, and we're just going to have some fun today.
Well, good. Glad to be here.
Well, glad to have you. I've been wanting to do this for a long time. Your wife, Sue, she is supposed to be here, but I don't know if she's really doing something or she's just got a little mic fright, one or the other.
Probably a little both.
A little of both, huh? Yeah, well, that's kind of what I figured. No, Van and Sue Carter is with the Carter Group out of Remax House of Brokers, and they are very unique in what they do over there as far as they work with a lot of home builders just like us at DRC Properties to help market our houses. Van, one thing that you do that I really like, you're out there, you research the stuff, it's just really cool how, you look at what's selling, you look at different people's properties and say, hey, this is what you need to do. This is why this house is selling. This is some of the amenities you need to do. No, you don't need to be doing this. I mean, there's all kinds of things that you do to try to help the builders out so you can get their houses sold.
Well, absolutely. And a lot of that starts right from the perspective of from the customer and what they're looking for in the home. A lot of people have different needs and different wants and what it is that they want from a builder or from a new home standpoint. Right. And there are things that are important to them and then things that just aren't.
Sure.
And there are things that they feel that they are willing to pay for. And then, like I said, the things that they just aren't, that aren't just necessary sometimes.
Right.
So we really try to listen to what it is that the people that we come in contact with are saying about their homes.
Right.
Because in today's market, with the economy and people watching what they spend more,
sure,
they can do without some things. That ends up, that is an expensive process for the builder to do.
Sure.
And sometimes that's just not necessary.
Right.
Now, sometimes builders feel like that they have to do all these things in order to get the sale. But I think price drives that situation these days a whole lot more than the added fluff and the extra benefits that maybe some of those things come with.
Right. Well, whether it's on a $100,000 level or a $500,000 level, buying a house is a big deal for most of us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's the biggest investment.
Sure. And so, number one, you want to get all the amenities that you want and can afford. And you're right. There's things that to me may not, in my house, if I was, buying a new house or building a new house, a jetted tub is something that, why spend the extra money on that? I would rather have something else.
Exactly.
And you may say, no, that means a lot to me. I want that amenity. And there's so many things that, people just, you may not want your money spent on that. Put it in the, in the kitchen, upgrade your appliances or something instead of spending it on this. And that's where you really need, we need somebody to work with the new buyers to get what they want. And it helps us builders to spend that money where it needs to be spent.
Well, and it also allows you to bring the cost and the price down of the house.
Sure.
One thing, when you do that, is it allows, and costs have come down in a lot of areas too, as far as materials and things go. But now, they're also going up in certain areas too. But it allows that person to like you say, if you're not interested in a jetted tub, but I really would like to have granite countertops and still have the price at a reasonable price
Exactly.
to be able to buy and watch my mortgage payment and my and the cost that's involved in buying a new home, then why put that jetted tub in? Give them the granite countertops that they're wanting to have and still keep the price at something that the consumer can afford to pay and they're comfortable with paying on a monthly basis.
Right. I think that's very important because there is things you can do to lower the cost or keep it. Everybody has a budget. We all know where our payment
and we watch
needs
it
to
more
be.
and more every day.
Absolutely, we do. And so, with what you guys do, I think it's very important because you can guide not only the buyer, but you can guide the builder in the right direction.
Well, and a lot of times too, people, 95% of the time, people just aren't going to be in your home for the most part, unless it's kids coming over, you have an event like a birthday party or something like that. So a lot of the times too, they want the front and the landscaping and things, a little bit more money spent into that part of it because that's the curb appeal. That's the part that makes it. So most of the time, back to your point with the jetted tub, most adults don't use the jetted tub. It's the kids that are in there using it. So if I can get a really nice looking house from the outside and give me that extra special look, but not have to worry about a jetted tub because that's not in there, and I've taken that money and kind of transferred it from one place to the other, then that seems to make more sense to people, because most of the time that's what we see is the outside of everybody's homes and whether they're pretty in the front elevations and so on and so forth.
Right, exactly.
And so that's kind of the guidance that we try to give to the builders that we work with is that at that level.
Right. I want to give out the numbers right fast before we get too far in the show, 'cause somebody might want to call and ask a question. You just never know.
Okay.
So if you're local here, it's 862-9977, 1-800-375-0056. Or if you want to send us a text, you can do that by texting us at 417-838-3192, and we'll read your question on the air here, and we'd love to hear from you. And the program is sponsored by Spring Mountain Air, your local Amana dealer. And Miss Mary today, I hope she's doing well. Oh, we do have somebody else walking in here, and it is Sue Carter. And you could tell she's just thrilled to death to be here. But, we're talking today about, if you're going to buy a new house, if you're in the market for a new house, you're working with a builder to get one built, kind of the process that we go through. And I tell you what is really cool, what we're seeing today is, it used to be the $300,000-$400,000 houses where you got your granite countertops and all those nice little foo-foo things.
Right.
We're building houses in the $130,000 market, $135,000, where you got the granite countertops, you got the hardwood floors, you got tiles, you got nice tile backsplashes.
Exactly.
Nice appliances. You're getting that in that house that's getting down affordable for just almost everyone.
Well, and that's where it goes back to pulling out things like not putting in a jacuzzi tub, maybe not putting in a fireplace, but you're able to take that money and then switch it over to granite countertops or nicer quality cabinets, nicer flooring and some different things like that.
Right.
Because when you get into, say a $130,000 house, maybe a 15 to 1,600 square foot range, a fireplace in that size of a home is going to eat up quite a bit of that living space.
Sure.
So if you take that out, but yet then we can take it and put it into granite countertops, let's say, and give them a higher quality cabinet, we're kind of taking money from one place and putting it into another place.
Yeah.
But still keeping that cost down to where now, that 1,600 square foot home before maybe would have had what we call box cabinets and just your basic countertops and things like that. Now has the upper end quality features in the home.
Right. Say hi, Sue.
Good morning.
Glad you're here. I'm good. Hey, we got a caller holding on. Let's talk to Jim in St. Louis. Go ahead, Jim.
It's a pleasure to speak to you. It's been my experience that women take a lot of the decision-making role in the amenities in the house. and I think they would tend to focus both on kitchens and bathrooms, and then leave kind of the exterior landscaping to men. Would you like to comment on that?
Oh, good point.
Yeah, Sue, we'll get you right in on this one.
Yeah. What do women ask for? I mean, does the women kind of say, this is what I want in the kitchen, or this is what I want in my master bathroom? I mean, is that what you see?
Absolutely. I think women are definitely more in tune with the design aspect of designing kitchens and things like that. So items like pantries are an absolute must. Granite countertops, tile backsplash, lazy Susan. Some of those built-in features and things like that are really important because they spend a lot of time in the kitchen.
Sure.
We've seen sort of a popularity among convection ovens, gas ranges, things like that. Those types of things seem to be more important.
Right.
So.
And don't count the man out either in the kitchen, because I know at my home, I do a lot of the cooking, and men want certain things there too.
Sure.
But it kind of goes both ways too, because women have a certain feel for the outside too, the what they want their home to look like, and how it needs to be inviting for the guests. And,
and I've noticed that more and more when we're working with new homeowners. A lot of times it is the women that says, "Hey, this is what I want as far as landscaping, and where they want their flower beds placed, this, that, and the other." So it is women do.
Yeah, and how maybe it can be as simple as how's the sidewalk going to lay out and how the approach of the house is going to be.
Right.
And it can be that important to a woman outside just as well as the man.
Sure.
But in most cases, the men pretty much leave it up to the women for just about everything for the most part, because they know that they're going to be the ones that are probably going to be there the most. Not always.
This is Jim again. I'd like to make a comment. And as far as the exterior, there's a lot of landscaping ideas you can do, but as I get older, I'm in my early 50s, I'm really looking for low maintenance. And so I'm thinking about installing a sprinkler system and then weighing the cost benefit against that, and then the long-term resale as well. Would you comment on that area?
Yeah, absolutely. Always installing a sprinkler system is going to add sellability to the house. Now, you're probably not going to get the value back out of the home if the sprinkler system costs you, say, $2,000. I mean, you're not going to be able to increase the value of the home $2,000, but it does make the sellability a bigger factor in that, to where people think, "Oh, good, I have a sprinkler system, and now I don't have to worry about watering the lawn," but I can't necessarily get the value back and say, okay, now I can pile on another $2,000 to the sales price, because the market dictates that.
Yeah, and you're right. The $2,000. I think in our new homes, it's about $2,200 is what it costs us to put a sprinkler system in. If you have sod, you almost have to have one. You don't have to, but I mean it's
agree.
really vital to keep your especially new sod watered, and so a sprinkler system is.
And market
awesome.
is always going to dictate the price of the home, but sellability factor, that's a big plus, because if you're sitting side by side with a house that has the sprinkler systems and yours doesn't, and you're basically the same price range, 9 times out of 10 they're going to pick your house over the other one that doesn't have it.
Yeah. So, Jim, that's some great questions there. Appreciate you calling in.
Okay, thank you for taking my call, and thank you, ma'am.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it. So that's that's stuff that we don't always think about. Should I or should I not put a sprinkler system in? What should I do in the kitchen? What should I do in the master bath? And a master bath is something that we're starting to see different things in. We keep going back to the jetted tub thing, and now I see people wanting a nice bigger shower as opposed to the jetted tub. I would prefer that myself.
What we find is younger couples, let's say it's their first home, or they've never owned a home with a jetted tub, they always want it. But if you've ever had one
Oh yeah.
through 2 or 3 or 4 homes that you've owned, it's they just don't get used. And so we're seeing a trend in tile showers, 4x5, 4x6 size, nice size showers. So
Yeah,
it seems
dual-
to be
dual-
kind of the trend.
Heads on them, different things like that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. They're putting more money into the shower because
And his and her separate vanities.
Yes.
That's popular.
Yeah.
Raised
Yeah.
raised counter heights.
yeah, which is always good for taller people in the bathroom.
Sure.
'cause
Yeah.
having that, especially for me,
Oh,
having that raised counter helps a lot.
And even in our small houses that we're building, we do the raised counters in the bathrooms because everybody seems to like them. It's, unless you're just a little short person, well, most of the time that works out really well having that extra height in that.
Yeah, it does. It does because it seems like when you're taller that is just at an awkward position that puts a little extra strain on your back. So having it up a little bit higher helps a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and like I say, the showers are people are starting to spend more money on the showers and forget about the jetted tub. Another thing that is, it's nice, but you mentioned it does take up a lot of room, especially in a smaller house, is a fireplace. More and more, I'm seeing people not do the fireplaces, except in the bigger houses. They're nice. A gas log is nice if the power goes out or for just a little bit, to turn on, take the chill off or something. But they're not efficient to use. If you're going to turn them on and use them a long time, you're going to have a huge gas bill. I'll tell you that much.
Oh yes.
And so we see it more and more people leaving out the fireplace, and they're again putting more money into the kitchen or upgrading their carpet or doing nicer hardwoods,
Right.
stuff like that.
Or can possibly pick a more expensive trim package.
Sure. Yeah.
And something like that. Yeah,
Absolutely.
Well, when you're looking at the amount of time that we are spending in our homes today, being able to have that comfortable space and being able to move your furniture and rearrange a little bit more and have more usable space helps a lot because then you don't feel like you're just trapped into one type of furniture setting in the house because everything has to be
Right.
worked around the fireplace too.
Right.
Which just is basically becomes mostly, 99% of the time a decorative piece.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And and those portable fireplaces that they have now that are just electric that have a nice mantle, and some of them even are entertainment centers, on top of them too. I mean, those you can move from one wall to the other, plug it in, and there you go.
That's true.
It's about as efficient.
Yeah, you're exactly right. They make some electric ones now that you have to really get close to look to make sure it's not a flame.
Exactly.
They look really good. So that's always an option, and like you say, you have the option of moving that around.
Exactly.
So
Well, I think the direction away from fireplaces as a focal piece is less and less because you can get decorative windows, drapery treatments, things like that, furniture pieces that
Sure.
sort of take that design element out of having to have that fireplace, especially when it's in the corner. It really eats up a lot of.
Oh
the room.
yeah,
So.
definitely does.
Well, and just like she was saying, you can add an extra window looking out the back where you may only have two panes. Now you could have 3 panes and have more light,
Transoms, make it,
transoms and
Sure.
different things
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
And the houses that we've built in the past or been a part of, when we put in a fireplace, I can't tell you how many we've built, over several hundred, I'm sure, that we didn't have fireplaces in. I think what we put in the last 5 years, two requests
as additional upgrades.
as additional upgrades. So that'll tell you that it's not that important.
Yeah.
And if it is,
Especially
we can
in the
do it.
smaller
Oh
homes.
yeah, absolutely. And I'm still a fan of good old wood burning fireplace. If I'm going to have one, I'm going to have one that's, of course, none of them are efficient. But if I'm going to have a fireplace, I like a wood burning, which I do have. So
Yeah, I'm kind of with you on that too. I like
Yeah.
the wood burning. They're more of a mess, but
Yeah, they
the
are.
smell. But
Yeah.
there's nothing like a nice fire.
Oh,
going.
yep, absolutely. 862-9977, 1-800-375-0056, or you can send us a text at 417 838-3192. I had to think about that number there for a second. So, and we'll read your text on the air. Love to hear from you. Talking with Van and Sue Carter today, the Carter Group from RE/MAX House of Brokers. And as I mentioned earlier, you guys do something that's very unique compared to a lot of other realtors, because you actually will sit down and work with the home buyer, work with the builder. Just like on our properties, you help us determine what is marketable, what will sell that house. But you'll also bring a buyer and sit down with them and say, hey, listen, this is what you need, or not necessarily tell them what they need, but say, if this is what you want, we'll go to the builder and we'll work it out. We'll get this and still keep the price where it needs to be. And I think that's very unique about you guys.
Yeah, we want people to work within their budget, and if they say, this is what we want to spend, what can we do for that? And we want to try to make that happen. We have a showroom up at RE/MAX that has all the samples and all the different things like that. And we have what's in budget and what would be an upgrade.
Sure.
And by each builder. And they've told us and they've given us, and we have it all laid out to where it's like, okay, this works in the budget of every level of home. But if we're going to go here, this is going to be an upgrade, and what the upgrade charge is, and we'll figure it out and let them know. And that just helps them. And the other thing that helps keep the cost down is when we can take an existing floor plan that we build and we know a lot about.
Sure.
And make few modifications to it, and then pick your colors and choices and different things like that. That helps us keep the cost down too, because we're not reinventing the wheel, so to speak.
Sure.
We're just taking and making modifications that work, because we try to really have really good floor plans to begin with, to where we're not having to change a whole lot anyway.
Sure. Right.
And that helps keep the cost down of the home too, to where they can achieve their goals of getting that home at that price that they're wanting to spend.
Yep. There you go. Gary, it's break time, isn't it? We will be back with more of Home Repairs and Solutions right after this. Now, if you've got a problem and you don't know what to do, your siding's going bad and you're plagued with green mildew. Well, your faucets, they all drip and your sinks are all clogged up too. Well, there's no need to worry. I'll tell you what you can do. Just call Home Repairs and Solutions. Home Repairs and Solutions. They'll fix your windows, they'll fix your house. They'll even tell you how to get rid of a mouse. Home Repairs and Solutions.
Here's news on the Ozarks News Network. The financially strapped Galois Theater in downtown Springfield is under new management this morning. Springfield businessman Robert Lowe has purchased the theater and will lease it to the current operator, Springfield Landmark Preservation Trust. Fire has damaged a home on Springfield's west side. It happened in the 800 block of West Walnut. The fire was contained to the back portion of the house. And police have arrested a man from Springfield in connection with several burglaries at local churches and storage units. 31-year-old Eric Stickney was arrested after officers executed a search warrant. Stickney is charged with 3 counts of second-degree burglary, 1 count of felony stealing, and 1 count of first-degree property damage. Stickney is in the Greene County Jail on a $25,000 bond. For the Ozarks News Network, I'm Arlen Summers.
And join us for America's First News, Monday through Saturday at 6:05 a.m. on the Wall Street Journal this morning on AM 560 KWTO.
Did you know when you shop small at independent, locally owned businesses, 52% of what you spend stays right in the community? November 30th is Small Business Saturday, and we encourage you to support your butcher, your baker, your local dressmaker, the neighborhood wine shop and bookstore, the toy maker down the street. November 30th is Small Business Saturday, so think big, but shop small. Sponsored in part by Sportsland Pickup Covers and Auto Accessories.
It's painful. It's stressful. It's the headache caused by being stuck in a cash crunch. At one time or another, it happens to everyone. You don't have the money to pay what needs to be paid, and that hurts. You need relief, and you need it fast. What do? Who do you call? I prescribe making the cash call at 855-590-CASH to get up to $10,000 with no collateral. We'll complete the application in about 4 minutes, and the cash can be in your account as fast as tomorrow. Yeah, the money's a little expensive, but it can provide welcome relief from your cash headache, and it's a lot cheaper than a payday advance. Use it only as long as you need, then pay it back to keep your total interest expense down. Because there's never a fee or penalty for early repayment. And then change your spending habits to keep the headache from coming back. So for quick cash relief, make the cash call at 855-590-CASH. That's 855-590-CASH.
Subject to credit approval. Additional documentation required. Loans will be made pursuant to Missouri Consumer Credit Loan License 367033042.
Cloudy, breezy, and colder today with a high 39. Then we could see a bit of light rain or freezing rain early. Otherwise tonight, some clouds, and it will be chilly with a low 27. Cold day tomorrow with some sun, high 40, and a low tomorrow night of 17. Then remaining cold for Sunday with some sunshine giving way to clouds, high 37. Mostly cloudy Monday, high 44. I'm AccuWeather's Kevin Snyder.
It's 31 degrees at AM 560 KWTO.
Well, I went down to the hardware store to see my old friend Bob. I said my roof it leaks, my rug's a mess, and my front door needs a new knob. I got squirrels in my attic, I got bats in my head. Well, Bob just leaned over the counter and he shook his head and said, "You need home repairs and solutions. Home repairs and solutions. They'll fix your windows, they'll fix your house, they'll even tell you how to get rid of a mouse. Home repairs and solutions."
And welcome back to Home Repairs and Solutions, where you can find out anything about fixing up your home or anything about buying and selling a home today, because we have Mark Withers, Van and Sue Carter here today. Now here's Mark, Van, and Sue.
Thank you, Gary. Appreciate that very much. I've had to call old Bob a time or two down at the hardware store, so. We've been talking about new construction. Let's talk about the existing homes out there, and say you don't want to buy a new house. You like where you are, but you want to do some upgrades, but you don't want to get yourself into a situation where you put $20,000 into your house and it's still worth what it's worth. What are some things that people can do that may not necessarily get their money back out of, but makes it more sellable? If they want to stay where they are, what's some tips that we can give the folks out there?
Well, always the kitchen or the bathrooms are the two main focal points of the home. And then generally they're the most expensive. They're the most expensive to build in a new construction home, and they're the most expensive to fix in an existing home. But there are some things, that you can do, if your cabinets are in good shape and good quality, changing out the knobs, working on the finish a little bit, putting new countertops and backsplashes, that doesn't cost you an arm and a leg to do.
Right.
And it can make a huge difference just by doing that, and touching them up in those ways, in the kitchen. And the new appliances too can help too.
Kitchen flooring.
Yep, flooring.
Updating tile and hardwood. We're seeing more and more hardwood in kitchens these days, so.
Yep, and in the bathrooms, basically the same thing. Your countertops, backsplash, could be, looking at your tub and your tub surround, whether you go with the new trend of putting tile around it and updating it in those ways too. Or you can do the complete gut of the kitchen and remodel it all, which can run into obviously quite a few dollars at that point with the labor of the tear out and things. But if you're handy, you can tear it out yourself and then have somebody come back in and put it in.
Right.
And you can save a little bit of money that way.
Sure. Right. Now, if somebody calls you and has a house that they want you to list, and you go walk through it, what are some of the things that you're going to tell them that they need to do to make that house look better? I mean, we're all really bad to the word clutter, and things like that. But what can people do to make their house more sellable without putting money into it? But what would you tell people?
First and foremost, decluttering is the number one item. Staging the home, new flooring, new paint. It will make a world of difference. But definitely decluttering and just trying to go through and purge some of those old things. What we always tell people is prepare your house for sale as if it is a piece of inventory on the market. You know, take down all the not all the personal photos, but a lot of the personal items, just thinning out in your kitchen, you know, only leaving decorative items on your countertops and things like that, taking out the coffee maker and the blender and things like that, and just less is more.
Okay.
Yeah, and paint. Yeah, I can't tell you how many times we'll look at houses in the kids' rooms. We'll hot pink or
navy blue,
or different colors like that, and it's like, oh, you know, we spent a lot of time, and they'll have a mural on the wall, and it's like, yeah, but the goal is to sell your house, and that may not be appealing to everybody that wants to buy the house. And if you don't have kids, then you really don't care about that. And that's getting it back to a neutral state to where it will fit 9 out of 10 buyers and not just maybe 1 out of 10 buyers.
Right.
And it's absolutely the last thing someone wants to do is to repaint rooms or take out wallpaper. Wallpaper is a huge point of contention for
I mean, you have enough on your plate as it is, getting moved, making the offer and the contract and different things like that, and moving through the process. The last thing you want to do is to have to come in and start doing work on the home, just to be able to move in and make it your home now.
Right.
So you want to get everything back to a neutral state of you know, pretty plain Jane. And, you know, that's what you're doing. You're trying to sell your home. It's not going to be your home, hopefully in 30 days. After you get a contract on it. So get it back to a neutral state.
Yeah. So going and renting a $40 a month storage unit to put some of that stuff in is probably not a bad investment to do if that's what it takes to get some of that stuff out of your house that you don't want to get rid of.
Absolutely.
But it don't need to be sitting there.
Absolutely, because you don't want the items that you have in your house to take away from the square footage of the home and the sellability of the home. So absolutely, it's a very good investment.
Yeah. Now I've had folks that just absolutely refuse to list a house because that they're like, well, people will walk through our house and just to see what we got so they can come back and rob us later. I've heard that before. You know, the industry has changed so much. Us as agents, number one, usually don't take people to just look at a house for no reason. They got to be a qualified buyer.
Yeah,
we don't usually. Yeah. And nowadays, with the type of lot boxes we have, no matter what agent goes into that house, we know it. I mean, because it's and pretty quick now.
It's not almost instantaneous.
Yeah, we don't have to wait till they update their key, which may be 2 or 3 days later. I mean, our keys now work off cell, and so it immediately sends the information. So it is safe to list a house, regardless of what people think. It is safe.
Right. You know, and it can happen.
Sure.
Anything can happen, but you're right. I mean, it's going to be pretty hard. We're going to know who's in that house as long as you don't let them in without going through the lockbox. Then obviously we wouldn't know. But if they're going to go through the lockbox and they're going to be with a qualified realtor, that realtor is going to make sure that person is qualified to be able to buy their house, because they're they shouldn't be out wasting their time as a realtor with unqualified buyers. That doesn't help them, and that doesn't help the seller.
Sure, right. How important from a buyer's point is being pre-qualified?
Very important, because you don't know what you're looking for. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Sure. Most buyers, they work off of a monthly payment system, so they know that if they can afford $800 a month, they have no idea what that buys them. So obviously, getting pre-qualified with a lender and knowing what that interest rate is of huge importance, because an $800 payment at 6% interest may only buy you a $115,000 house.
Sure.
At 2.75, 3%, 3.5%, it can buy you a $130,000 house. And so really, until you know what you're qualified for, what the rate is, what your amortization is, you're not going to know what that payment's going to be.
Right.
So it's extremely important.
And it's very helpful on our side of it, because if you come to us and say, we don't know what we can show you, we don't want to show you the wrong thing.
Right.
There's nothing worse than showing somebody a $150,000 house and they just absolutely love it. But I'm sorry, now we find out that you're only $120,000 is all you can afford.
Exactly.
It's a big disappointment to them, and it's it just adds more to our workload. So I encourage anybody that's out there thinking about buying a house to get pre-qualified.
Yes, and your real estate agent can help you with that for sure, because they do work with lenders and different and make recommendations and head you in that right direction.
Well, it also helps with negotiations as well, because if you've presented an offer to a seller and you've got your pre-qualification letter with the lender, it just helps solidify your negotiations.
Right. Do people in general, as far as the sellers go, are they a little standoffish with contingency offers? Like, Joe and Mary, they got to sell their house. They want to make an offer on yours, but they got to sell theirs first, so they write up a contingency on yours. Are people a little more skittish about that, backing off on those type of offers?
Absolutely. It's never in the seller's favor
Right.
to take a contingency, because it in essence removes their house partially from the market, and most realtors aren't going to show it with a contingency with a kick-out clause.
Right.
If you do a contingency with no kick-out clause, it really doesn't it doesn't benefit the buyer at all, because someone could come along and basically kick out your offer with no notification. So
Right.
it's just not a good situation really for either party. We've done them less and less, I'd say, in the last 5 years when the market turned, because you need to expose your house to as many buyers as possible.
Sure.
So removing that contingency has played a role, I think, in the last 5 years.
Right.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
862-9977, 1-800-375-0056, or if you want to send us a text, you can do that at 417-838-3192. We would love to hear from you. This is Home Repairs and Solutions, brought to you by Spring Mountain Air, your local Amana dealer. And once again, Mary is under the weather today, so it's just me and Van and Sue, and we're having a great time. A lot of great information that you guys got. How can people get a hold of you if they want to talk to you about buying a new home, having one built, or listing their house?
They can call us at 417-732-4900, 417-732-4900.
Okay.
And that'll take you directly to Sue, actually.
Okay.
And our website is cartergrouphomes.com.
Great.
Yep.
Now, we have a new website for DRC Properties.
Yes, homesbydrc.com.
And so you can go on there and look at what we do. And
Absolutely.
also, you're working with another builder or two. Am I correct on
Yes, Cowherd Construction.
Uh-huh.
Both DRC and Cowherd are family-run businesses, been in the building business for over 30 years. Very, very family-oriented. With DRC, Dan Clark has been the one with DRC, and Scott Clark, his son, is the one that heads up the construction aspect of it. And then Jim Cowherd was the original owner of Cowherd Construction, and then Trent has taken it over from Jim over the years, and been family-owned businesses for a long, long time. Good guys and great builders.
And we try to, that's one thing about this, on this program, we try to promote, local family-owned businesses. And so I'm proud to be a part of DRC. I've been with them 11 years, and also RE/MAX. And of course, during all that time, I've got to know Jim and Trent, and they're great people over there too, and build good quality homes.
Dan and his ways that he goes about it, actually recruited us to Remax.
Yes, he did.
I wouldn't necessarily call it a recruitment, but somehow he convinced us.
We've been there 5 years now, so
Yeah.
been in the business for 10. Spent my first 5 years at Keller Williams, and Dan got us to come over to Remax.
Yep.
So
Yeah, and I've been with her doing it for 7 years now.
Yeah.
Going on 8, I guess. So
you know, we're talking family oriented right here.
There you
that's
go.
right. That's right.
Family right here too. So.
Best way to go.
Yep. Is there a best time of year to buy a house or to sell a house?
No, not really.
You know, used to we thought, okay, well, I mean, we got Thanksgiving coming up this week. You know, used to when you hit Thanksgiving, you might as well forget about anything till January because it just like it died. You know, is that still true or you know?
It's interesting. There are fewer buyers, but the buyers that are out there during the holidays are motivated. They're qualified, and they're ready to go. There's less inventory on the market, so there's less homes to compete with. Actually, last November and December were our 2 best months of 2012 last year. We were extremely busy. Now, we were busy with doing a lot of custom homes and things like that. That's kind of a good season to finish up on those, but we've always had good luck during the holidays. And again, you know, there are fewer buyers, but the buyers that are out there, they're needing to get in and get settled before the holidays.
Right.
And then always after the first of the year, we always have a shortage of inventory because buyers are ready to buy and sellers are they're still packing up from the holidays and they're not quite as motivated
right.
Yes, so we always see a shortage in January and February on inventory on the market. So they've actually been some of our best months.
Yeah. And also, you can have a buyer, like she said, there could be a shortage of buyers, but you could have a buyer that has been looking for 6 months, and if you don't put your house on the market, that could be the house that they've been waiting to see and come up and make an offer on.
Sure.
Because they haven't found that one house. We always say it just takes one, and it really does.
That's right. It
It just takes one, and if you hit that one person and that's the house for them,
Sure.
then guess what? You've got you a contract. And if you'd have waited to do that, you don't know that person may have found a different house.
Right.
So we don't ask, or we don't want people to wait because it is it's you just never know what's going to happen.
Right. Now, if a person called you today, Jens went out, showed a house, they loved it, they made the offer on it, they were pre-qualified, can they be in by the holidays if they pulled the trigger today?
30 days is typically the time frame. So yes.
So if you want in by the holidays into that new home, you need to do it today.
Right,
or,
exactly.
Or within the next day or two.
Yeah. Within the next week for sure. So get in by the holidays.
Yep.
So
you can do it.
Yeah, is the closing companies, I know, and of course, next week, we're going to lose a couple days because of Thanksgiving and everything. But do the closing companies, do they get pretty booked up towards the end of the year? Or, is it pretty easy to get into a closing company to get one closed?
It typically is easy to get in. It really all depends on interest rate. Last November and December, rates were really low, so there were a lot of refinances and things like that.
Right.
So it just kind of depends on the market and also how what the rates are, as to how busy we are.
Yep.
Great. So get out there and find that house, and hopefully it's a DRC property or cow herd, and
well, that's the other thing too. We ought to tell people where we are building our new homes.
Yeah.
DRC is in Strasburg, and Lakes at Schuler Ridge in Republic.
Yep.
And
Hoover's Mill,
in Ozark. Yeah.
And Cowherd is in
Battlefield Estates. 159.9.
And Lakes at Schuler Ridge also.
Right.
We've got a lot of foundations going in, and going to have some good looking houses.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
They look good.
So come and check them out. Go to our website and check that out. We'd love to hear from you. And before we get out of time, once again, give you guys' contact information, how they can get a hold of you.
417-732-4900. That'll
Okay.
take you right to Sue.
Cool. Great. So, well, talking about Thanksgiving, what are you guys doing for the holidays?
Going to family dinner.
Uh-huh.
Two of them.
Yeah, two in one day. So
Uh-huh.
we're actually going to
Oh,
Neo
boy.
Show for his family's Thanksgiving, and then we're
Uh-huh.
heading down to Oklahoma to see my family. So we're going to do lunch in Neo Show and dinner in Oklahoma.
In Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Wow.
A lot of driving.
A lot of driving.
Oh,
for
that's
one
always
day.
part of the
And
holidays.
a lot of food.
Yeah, yeah. There you go. That's the fun part of it. So
That's right. That's right.
But yeah, if you're thinking about buying that new home or building one, it can be a great process on the building side of stuff, or it can be a big headache. But the key to it is having the right people to help you.
That's right, because we have systems in place from top to bottom that will take you through the process seamlessly. We have all the samples at our showroom. We can pick it out, help you with your choices. We try to make it as simple as possible. Then we can just take that, turn that right over to the builder, and it's a seamless transaction. I mean, we've been doing it so long.
Sure.
We have it down. And I believe even if you were to ask other realtors that have done business with us, they'll tell you exactly the same thing.
Sure.
It's like, it's just,
Yeah.
it's a smooth, seamless transaction
Yeah.
because
And
we've just been doing it a long time.
by coming to your little showroom you have, it's so much better for a lot of people. They get overloaded. I mean, with all the information, they go out to these big box stores, and they go to
Right.
all these different places, and they see all this different stuff, and they're like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? I can't. But you guys have the samples there, and so it's not as confusing. It's more relaxed, and what the newest trends and everything are, and it's so much nicer.
Well, and
for
we've put
for
so
the
many
buyer.
color combinations together already
Yeah.
that you can say, well, this looks good. Pick this,
Sure.
this. What do you think?
And I would say probably 90 to 95% of all the buyers that we work, we've sold literally hundreds, more than any realtor in Springfield as far as new construction, custom homes, in build-to-suits. Most people like the simplicity of it.
Sure. Yeah.
We want smiles and hugs at closing, and that's really important to us. And we like our buyers to be happy with our builders, and so we really try to make it as simple as possible and fun. It needs to be fun.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
It's a huge
absolutely.
step.
It is a huge step. I experienced something that I had never had. I actually had a gentleman. He was a truck driver, and kind of a big old burly guy. And we finished the closing and everything, and he started crying and hugged me. And he's
It
like,
happens.
He's like, you don't realize what you've helped me through. And I'm like, well, that's cool. You don't see that every day.
Yep.
So-
We
important.
like happy tears.
Yep, that's right, no doubt.
That's right.
Well, Vanna Sue, it's been great having you on the program, and I hope
Thanks
we
for
don't
having us.
wait so long next time to get you
All
back
right.
on here.
All right,
So
thanks.
Sounds good.
appreciate you guys coming on. Well, everybody have a wonderful Thanksgiving, and hopefully Mary will be back with us next week. And this is Home Repairs and Solutions, sponsored by Spring Mountain Air, your local Amana dealer. We're heard every Friday morning from 10 to 11 right here on AM 560 KWTO.
And your seats are all clogged up too.